being that high. But that's definitely what happened. You see, we had that crown chakra ball when energy got too high. We do, you know what I'm saying? Meditate on that frequency. Remember, we going through these platforms, y'all. So no matter whether we publicly or privately, we still got to go through their platform. So sometimes they just can't handle the frequency. Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all come back up in here. Spread the word, go on the forum. Let them know that we are live. We are back. We are back. We are back. I see y'all filing back in here. We at 1,600 live viewers, 1,700 live viewers. Welcome back in class. I see y'all. Welcome back. All right. All right. So we don't have to go through the whole plan. You see that crown chakra roll kicking us out of here. You see what I'm saying? So that joint dangerous. We ain't got to play that again. We played that the first live. We was kicked off. So unfortunately, if you didn't catch us live, you will not get that experience, at least not in this lecture. Because if you are just watching this video, like say tomorrow or something, you gonna miss us playing the crown chakra ball. But it's all good because we're gonna be playing it more often. But we definitely did a powerful meditation, and playing that frequency was very powerful. You seen what happened. So we ain't gonna do that again right now. All right, we just want to get into the download. So before we roll into this information, it's imperative that I open it up with the right spiritual energy. So first, let me start by saying peace to all the gods and goddesses of the planet Kai. Peace meaning positive energy always creates elevation. All right, I'm sending the deepest of insight to my elders, those 65 and older within the university. We appreciate you deeply. I love you. I love you. I love you. I can't say it anymore. And I'm pretty sure everybody else in the university appreciates your energy as well. We appreciate all our elders that's been walking in this physical form and been on this reality, in this physical reality, a lot longer than we have, far as in this lifetime. Also to my peers, those in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, I just want to send the deepest insight to you so that you can understand this lecture today. We already opened that crown chakra up a little bit when we was, like I say, doing that playing that powerful singing bowl, because that's not a regular singing bowl that we played. That's a real crystallized singing bowl. Some individuals say they have those type of singing bowls, but they don't, because even the last singing bowl I had, it wasn't crystallized. That green one I had, it was a good singing bowl, but it wasn't crystallized like these new ones I have. So the energy is just real high right now on the planet too. So this is why this is a good time to discuss the University of Timbuktu. To all the blue crystal babies that's in here, it's in the university, I want to send the deepest of insight to you as well. Can never forget about you. Appreciate you all for spreading the message all over TikTok the way that you do. Supreme Beings, we appreciate you spreading the message and taking the journey seriously. Remembering who you are and everything that we've created on this planet, and what we come from. It's a real thing. We are divine beings, so we can never forget that at all times. We got to stay in our godhood. We got to stay in our full motherfucking divinity. Y'all hear me out there? Do y'all hear me out there? Reflections. We got to stay in our full divinity at all times, all right? So that's going to take a lot of shadow work as well. Blue crystal babies, my peers, elders. However, we are healing right now as a whole. So that's what it's about. It's about healing. It's not about pointing fingers. It's not about thinking you can't make mistakes. It's not about thinking that's going to happen. You working on yourself. That's why you got to work on that root chakra, sacral, every chakra. We have to get back to the basics of just cleansing our chakras out, because we could sit in these classes all day and it could feel good and we can hear it, but we might not grasp it the way we would grasp it if we had our chakras cleansed out. That's why I said what I said on Instagram Live. That's a big thing, that to cleanse our chakras out, because sometimes that's where all the issues be. You know, we have many things that have been programmed inside of our beings, you know, since we got here as young as 2, as babies, you know what I'm saying? So cleansing our chakras out is going to help us to understand, to better communicate, you know, to better manifest things our way. We have to clean it out. We have to do our shadow work. Like, I think I need to do another class strictly on shadow work as well, like to emphasize that, like healing that inner child. It's a real big thing. It literally will hold you back. You just can't get on your spiritual journey and not heal your inner child or be one with your flaws Be one with yourself. Because then that's a part of loving yourself. And as you love yourself, now you're able to project that energy out into the universe. You know, a lot of times when we point out things that we see in others, you know, we literally just really point out the things that we really see in ourselves. You know, that's a real thing. Like, you know, and we don't know that, but we are each other's reflection. So of course I'm going to see, you know, I'm going to see certain things in you that might bother me if I'm that type of person. You know, that's why the universe have me seeing it. The universe surrounds you with people who project the same energy you project, so that you can see how it feels, you know, so that you can get that mirror reflect. It's just the way that we program this reality, because that reality is crystallized. So everything reflects off everything. What does a crystal do? A crystal reflects. So everything reflects off everything. It's the same thing in our reality, you know. Your entire world around you in the physical is crystallized. So whatever energy you project out can't do nothing but bounce back to you because of that, especially when you are everything yourself. You know, we got to remember that basic, because we know when we talking about what we talking about today, like the University of Timbuktu, that's something that you can't really look up. Like, I went to Wikipedia right now. I got Wikipedia pulled up, you know. If you wanna read along, you can. Feel free to pull out y'all laptops, y'all iPads. We treating this shit like, goddamn it, the pastor did the goddamn congregation. You hear me? Like, was back then it was pull out your Bibles. Now pull out your iPads. You hear me? But like, yeah, pull out y'all iPads, pull out y'all out your MacBooks, whatever you got. If the follow along, so that you can see it for yourself. That way I don't have to turn the camera around. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not in a position where you have an extra camera, don't worry about it. I'm gonna just read it out. But let's see what our oppressors are saying about us. We divine beings now. Remember what we're doing today. We're here to remember who we are. I'm here to enlighten and inform. So I'm not here to make you feel better about yourself. When I'm saying what I'm saying, it's literally to enlighten you. And it just so happened that the enlightenment that we discussing, you just happen to be a great being. That's what you all are, as neuromelanated beings, supreme beings. That's just what you are. So it's not even me like trying to big us up because, oh, it's like on some black shit, right? Like, oh, I'm black too, so let me big the black people up. No, we as gods and goddesses, this is just our real history. You know what I'm saying? So, but I want to show you how they hide our history, because our history is so great. You know, they don't tell us too much about our history. They speak about ancient Egypt. And like I said in one of the past lectures, ancient Egypt was never a moment in time. You know, ancient Egypt was never a civilization. Ancient Egypt was a tribe. Okay, ancient Egypt was a tribe. And we'll get more into that because it ties into Timbuktu. But let's see what they say about Timbuktu on Wikipedia. So if you're on Wikipedia, you can read, you can put in University of Timbuktu. So when I put in University of Timbuktu, it says, the University of Timbuktu is a collective term for the teaching associated with 3 mosques in the city of Timbuktu in what is now Mali. Okay, I'll repeat that again. They say the University of Timbuktu is a collective term for the teaching associated with 3 mosques in the city of Timbuktu in what is now Mali. Okay? So they basically tell you that the present day Mali used to be ancient Timbuktu. They're lying right there. Let's keep reading about the lies though. This is what they do. Because you'll never look up the University of Timbuktu. And if you just so happen to look up the University of Timbuktu, we have a bunch of lies waiting for you. Okay? So, let's keep going. The mosques of Sankore, Dajing, and Sidi Yaya, it was organized scholastic community. It was an organized scholastic community that endured for many centuries during the medieval period. Okay? So they say in the University of Timbuktu, it was an organized scholastic community that endured for many centuries during the medieval period. Now, the only thing they was truthful about in that sentence was that the University of Timbuktu was an organized scholastic community, but it wasn't just any scholastic community. It was a organized cosmic scholastic community of advanced sciences, okay, that were being taught at the University of Timbuktu anciently. But they don't tell you this in when you Wikipedia. We're going to keep going, though. The university contributed to the modern understanding of Islamic and academic studies in West Africa during the medieval period, and produced a number of scholars and manuscripts taught under the Maliki school of thought. Okay? So, they lying. Okay? When they telling you that this is something that's just based, that Timbuktu is just 3 mosques located in present-day Mali. All right? So now when you go into the history, let's go down to the history. They saying, this is what they say. Timbuktu is a city. We back at 5,000 live viewers. Welcome to Class Reflection. I see y'all in here. What it do? Shout out to the UCI. You hear me? We in here. Night class. All right. Timbuktu is a city created by the Taraj people around the late 1100s AD. If you just walking in class because you was smoking weed in the hallway, all right. We're talking about the University of Timbuktu. All right, if you're trying to, because I see more people filing in. So if you was in the parking lot getting high in between classes, waiting to see why the fuck class had stopped the first time, and you just walking back in now, welcome back into class. Pull your laptops out, your iPads out. We're talking about the University of Timbuktu. Thank you. Just to catch you up to speed, all right? Walk out of class again, your ass come back in, you're on your own, all right? We ain't rewinding. We going forward from here on out. Let's get it. All right, so look. On Wikipedia, y'all, they saying that Timbuktu is a city created by the Taraj people around the 1100s, the late 1100s AD. Here they go. AD. What AD stand for, y'all? After death. After death of who? After the death of Christ, all right? And we know that Jesus Christ was not what? He was not real. So when they get to talking this 1100 AD, you know what I'm saying? 1200 BCE, before Christ entered face, you know what I'm saying? You know they lying. They ain't even been here that long. All right. And that's what I'll do respect. You feel me? I don't give a fuck who feel away about what. You get me? All right. So due to the Taraj people having established the area as a way station for supplies and provisions, which was often viewed by travelers and merchants passing by, it eventually became a large trading city. So when they tell you Timbuktu is a city created by the Taraj people around the late 1100s, that whole sentence was a lie. That whole sentence, from Timbuktu all the way to motherfucking trading city, is they lying. So you can omit that. If you on Wikipedia right now, you can exit out. You know what I'm saying? Omit that because they lying. I'm just gonna let you know what they lying about and what they not lying about. And actually, they're lying about everything in it. I just want to read their version first, and when you go into our version, you completely understand why they lied to you and what exactly it is that they lied to you about. Okay? So we got to dive into the fruitcake of fuckery first. All right? So let's get back to it. Eventually, Musa. Okay, here we go. Do we all know who Musa was? They say he's one of the richest black people that ever walked the face of the earth. That's what they credit him for doing. All right? Eventually, Musa gained control of the city. They talk about Timbuktu. Okay? When Mansa Musa traveled to Mecca in order to complete the Hajj, he returned to Mali with architects and scholars whom he encountered along the way. He employed these people to establish mosques and universities in Timbuktu that quickly gained fame. Okay, so now we see what they use Mansa Musa to do. Now, if you ever heard about Mansa Musa, if you never heard about your cosmic history, before we never heard about our cosmic history, Mansa Musa was considered one of the greatest beings to ever walk the planet because he was said to have been so wealthy and so rich, right? But in reality, the Mansa Musa story is based around that. I mean, we can click on his name. Let's click on his name. Mansa Musa was the ninth of the Mali Empire, one of the most powerful West African states. He has sometimes been called one of the wealthiest people in history, though his wealth is impossible to accurately quantify and it is difficult to meaningfully compare the wealth of historical figures. At the time of Musa's ascension to the throne, Mali in large part consisted of the territory of the former Ghana Empire, which Mali had conquered. The Mali Empire consisted of land that is now Guinea, Senegal, and Mauritania, the Gambia and modern state of Mali. Musa went on a Hajj to Mecca in 1324 and traveled with an enormous entourage and a vast supply of gold. En route, he spent time in Cairo, where his lavish gift-giving caused a noticeable drop in the price of gold for over a decade and garnered the attention of the wider Muslim world. Okay? Musa expanded the borders of the Mali Empire, in particular incorporating the cities of Gao and Timbuktu into its territories. He saw closer ties with the rest of the Muslim world, particularly the Malik Sultan and the Marinid Sultan. He recruited scholars from the wider Muslim world to travel to Mali, such as the Andalusian poet Abu Ashik Salih, and helped establish Timbuktu as a center of Islamic learning. Okay, his reign is associated with numerous construction projects, including that of the other mosque in Timbuktu. Musa's reign is often regarded as the zenith of Mali's power and prestige. Okay, so if you're looking at the story of Mansa Musa, they're basically trying to equate him to Timbuktu. And they let you know that Mansa Musa was who? A physical being, right? That's what they telling you about Mansa Musa. But they credit him with being a black man. But then they also making it seem like Mansa Musa was responsible for expanding Timbuktu and playing roles in creating Timbuktu and on and on and on and on and on. But in reality, Mansa Musa actually is a being that was one of the guys that was a very powerful being, all right, that actually was an overseer of a lot of the science projects that were taking place at the University of Timbuktu, if that makes sense. Okay, Mansa Musa is just credited with being this wealthy black man when he was more than that. He was actually a scientist. All right, and he was one of the creators of the real University of Timbuktu, Mansa Musa, okay? So, but they making it seem like Mansa Musa was a physical being. But when Mansa Musa was around, he exists on the highest of frequencies when he was here. It's a spirit, it's an energy. Mansa Musa represented an energy. He's one of the scientists that took part in erecting the University of Timbuktu. But the real University of Timbuktu was not in a physical state. All right, so I say it to say this. You got to remember, this realm is considered to be Atlantis. Okay, this is Atlantis. So when you going to look up the University of Timbuktu, they got you thinking that it's still here. It's Mali. So the University of Timbuktu, right? They telling you that the University of Timbuktu is in Mali, but that's a lie. Okay, the University of Timbuktu is not in present day Mali. Okay, you had the Egyptians, who they told us was a civilization, but the Egyptians was not a civilization. The Egyptians was a tribe. Okay, the Egyptians was not a civilization. The Egyptians were a tribe. Okay? So by the Egyptians being a tribe, you feel me? By the Egyptians being a tribe, this means that where you see the present day pyramids in Egypt, that's not Egypt. Egypt is present day of what they call America with 3 Ks. Okay, so when you hear about these stories of ancient Egypt, I've said this in past lectures. When you hear about the stories of ancient Egypt, all right, all of that took place right here in what they call America today, because this is where the Egyptian civilization was at. All right, this is where the Egyptians was at. We talked about this in past lectures, and that led to the Mississippian tribes and on and on and on and on down the road. But this is where the Egyptians was at. So now you should ask yourself, well, okay, if the Egyptians was here, then how is it present? Then where is that place where the pyramids is located at that they say is in Egypt? In that land where the present day pyramids is located at today that they show you, when people be like, hey, I want to go to Egypt. That's not Egypt. That area of the land, all of that used to be where the University of Timbuktu was at. Timbuktu took up majority of the present day Middle East. All right. The University of Timbuktu was a conglomerate of all these universities. And these universities taught about advanced sciences, metaphysics, the highest of the adepts, all the ascended masters used to come from all type of galaxies all around the planet and come to Timbuktu. All right, this is where some of the most advanced intellectual beings in the cosmos that know all the advanced scientists was at. And you had all these different classes that taught different levels of different sciences. Mental alchemy, I mean, anything you could think of was being taught at the University of Timbuktu. And Mansa Musa, who actually is the divine being, right? Not just some physical in the flesh being that they trying to equate to the Muslims. Mansa Musa is a scientist. He's one of the original 23 scientists, all right? You just like you got Yakub, aka Satan, is a part of the original 23 scientists, all right? You have myself, all right? I'm just saying people that y'all know that has been talked about and documented throughout history, all right? Mansa Musa is also one of the original 23 scientists, okay? Dr. Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett, Dr. York. All of these beings are part of the original 23 scientists. And when they came here as these individuals. You know what I'm saying? But it's more. It's more than just that. It's 23 total. Okay? But these Mansa Musa is one of the beings responsible for specifically creating the University of Timbuktu. And it was all about giving one steady place where you got all these different multiverses, right? And in every, like, for example, my name is Divine Insight. That's my cosmic name, and I'm the Grand Master Teacher of the 8th universe. That's who I am, all right? One of the original 23 scientists. But my universe that I'm in, and when I'm in the astral, in my astral state, is the 8th, the most, right? That's like my main home where I'm centered at with helping other beings advance in science, in levels of science and cosmic history. Like when I'm in the 8th universe, I teach those beings about things that's going on in this universe that they can't fathom. Like I talk to them about how it's a place called Earth, for example, there's really, or Atlantis, and you have Atlanteans here that have been enslaved and they don't remember who they are and this and that. When I teach our brothers and sisters that's in the 8th universe, it's hard for them to believe that. Just like when I'm sitting there teaching our brothers and sisters in the 9th universe about the 8th universe, it's hard for y'all to believe that. So the University of Timbuktu is a place where if you was a Grandmaster teacher in the 8th universe, we got a Grandmaster teacher in the 7th universe, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 1st, 9th. We got ascended masters from other planets, other galaxies. We have scientists from other universes. We have scientists from in other multiverses. You got all these advanced beings, and they would come, and we would all gather at the University of Timbuktu. We would come here through Macurbers, by using our Macurbers, through portals, and we would come here, and there was this long conglomerate of schools, and a lot of different things was being taught, all right? The most advanced forms of martial arts was being taught at the University of Timbuktu, levels that you can't even put in words, that could only be compared to the shit you see in Dragon Ball Z. That was being taught at Timbuktu, or the shit that you would see when you watch The Matrix and you watch Dragon Ball Z. You had advanced levels of that's what I mean when I say it's quantum physics. This was a quantum physics lecture because you had that type of advanced level of martial arts being taught at the University of Timbuktu. You know how we sit here and we talk about mad hoodoo now? You had the levels being taught where you knew how to tap into certain info. You had to access the gamma radiation, how to access the photon energy. You know how to manipulate the fire and the elements and the same shit they show you when you go watch the Avatar. I mean, The Last Airbender, and you see Aang working on his arts with the elements. That was being taught at the University of Timbuktu. You had people that was learning about vegetation and one with the vegetation, so they was creating their own creating their own rivers. You know, a lot of the information that was being taught at the University of Timbuktu, you know, we was taking it and creating our own rivers and creating our own planets and worlds with it. Like that's what it was being taught, so that we can advance the multiverse, so that we can keep creating and expanding the collective conscious as a whole. All of this was taking place at the University of Timbuktu, you know, and it was science so prolific and so advanced that when we went to war with them, one of the first places that they attacked after attacking our pyramids was the University of Timbuktu. So as we began like when they showing you Black Panther and you watching the goddess play with the holographic images in the scientific lab, and that impresses you, T'Challa's sister, how she's able to do all that. We was doing that plus more at the University of Timbuktu. All right. And this was only a place for the scientific us and the warriors. Like a lot of us do many other different things, and we wasn't going to the university. But a lot of souls and spirits was attending the university. A lot of Lyrians and extraterrestrial races like the Lyrians and the blue avians was attending the university. Matter of fact, a lot of the pictures that you see floating around of blue avians that were drawn up were construed and put together by advanced beings from different planets at the University of Timbuktu. You know what I'm saying? You had the Nerubians. When the Nerubians salted the seas, where do you think they learned how to salt the seas at the University of Timbuktu? And then they came out and started salting the seas of today's seas, like the Red Sea, and how you got salt water. Okay, who you think salted that water? The Nerubians. Who you think? Why you think they did it? Because they learned it at the University of Timbuktu. Planet Nibiru, for example, is a planet, a spaceship, and a sun. Okay, where do you think they learned that type of technology at the University of Timbuktu? This is the type of shit that was happening and going on at the University of Timbuktu. And this is why they never talk about this type of stuff to our people, okay? When you talking about all these being able to manipulate kinetic energy, you know, mental alchemy, transmuting base metals to gold, transmuting thoughts, transmuting realities, you know what I'm saying? Creating vortexes, creating alternate genetics, eugenics, advanced levels of eugenics, the real cloning and studying and cloning whole worlds. Like that all was taking place at the University of Timbuktu. All right, it was a gather. It was a place where how they try to show you Professor Xavier on X-Men. Okay, that's what was taking place at the University of Timbuktu. So when you can understand that that's what was taking place at the University of Timbuktu, then you can start to get a mindset like, okay, this was an advanced place, and this is why they attacked it. So when they start attacking the University of Timbuktu, because it was such an advanced level, think about it. When you looking at the pyramids, Hitler tried to blow the pyramids up and he couldn't destroy them with nothing. They tried atomic bombs, but you know why atomic bombs ain't work? Because what the atomic bombs are made out of? Our atoms. So our atoms are already programmed not to destroy nothing that's going to mean something to us if we left it there to be. So that's why the atomic bomb didn't blow up the pyramids. Now, what is the pyramids that you see today? They got people thinking them real pyramids, when in actuality, that's dust that was left behind by the University of Timbuktu, because what the scientists on it that was responsible, like the Mansa Musas, that was responsible was actually Mansa Musa that did it. All right, Mansa Musa is the one that raised the frequency of the entire university. So what happened was the frequency rose so high that the oppressors here, these reptilians and these Pleiadians, it's on a frequency so high that they can't even see it. And they did that to preserve a lot of memories and preserve a lot of ancient technology and things that we will still need to this day. It's still in the University of Timbuktu. And the scientists still live there. There's still a bunch of us that live there and make things happen from that university. But the university was rose to a higher frequency. So when something rises higher, you don't see it anymore. And they was trying to freeze it because it was a war taking place. Remember, they was, at the time that the University of Timbuktu was around, this is when we started to fall in frequency. So a whole war was breaking out. So they was already freezing our ancestors in what make up present day Alaska, right? That's because they was freezing our ancestors in battle. So they tried to freeze Timbuktu, but our certain scientists and extraterrestrial beings, this is the most advanced beings throughout the multiverse. Come on, these Pleiadians and reptilians don't stand a chance. These is the best of the best of the best was at the University of Timbuktu. So they rose it to a higher frequency. And all you seen left behind was dust, and they froze the dust. And because the university was full of pyramids and spears in certain shapes, every building at the University of Timbuktu was designed aesthetically in a way that aligned with the cosmos. So every shape was either a pyramid or a spear, because these are the shapes, when you get into shapes in true sacred geometry, it's all about channeling energy. And the only shapes that channel true energy is a pyramid and a spear. Other shapes like squares, rectangles are designed to hold energy in. The only shapes that transmute energy and push it out is pyramids and spears. So when you understand real sacred geometry, you understand that squares and rectangles actually is shapes that are designed to keep energy. And once you understand that, you understand why our house is shaped like squares and rectangles and shit. Those are prism shapes. This is where prison, which does, what is a prison? A place that constricts a person, right? Well, the term prison comes from the word prism, P-R-I-S-M, and that comes from shapes, sacred geometry. And the only prism shapes that constrict energy is rectangles and squares. Pyramids and spheres are used to push energy out and to get the most power out of energy and electricity and amplify it. So at the University of Timbuktu, this is why we had a bunch of pyramids and spheres. So this is why, even when you look at mosques today, they have what? A spear. This is why when you look at present day, what they call in the pyramids, this is why they shape like that. That's the dust that was left behind because the whole university was a spaceship that was brought here anyway from the cosmos and landed here and Mansa Musa erected it here. He's one of the original 23 scientists. He's one of the original masculine energies to ever be created. And he still exists to this day. But he resurrected. He's one of the powerful spirits, one of the powerful gods too of ancient time. And they don't want you to know about his energy. You see what I'm saying? You can channel all their energy, him, the ancient ones, all of them. Osiris, Aset, these are all gods from back then, spirits that exist, real beings that still exist. Hercules, all of them. You know what I'm saying? So this is why they don't want to even talk about the University of Timbuktu, because it still exists, but they don't know how to connect to it. This is where they get their ideas from Black Panther from. See what I'm saying? The University of Timbuktu. That whole idea of Wakanda comes from the University of Timbuktu, because it wasn't just a university, it was a community. So that means it's a village, it's us, it's tribes. Yes, you got 4 tribes in full effect. University of Timbuktu is still here on Atlantis, but it's at a higher frequency so that they can't access it. You see what I'm saying? Not us, so that they can't access it. But that's why when you go look up about it, they're going to make you think it's just something going on in Mali. And it's a lot deeper than that. All right? This was a powerful place and it's still thriving to this day. It's just that it's not open like it used to be. It was open to everybody. Now it's only, you got to go, but then you can access the University of Timbuktu through meditation as well. Ascended masters and ancient adepts will greet you in your pineal and walk you into enlightenment that way, because it had to go to and the physical version of it is on a higher frequency because of the war that broke out. And when you looking at those pyramids today, that's the dust from the bottom of the ship, because Timbuktu was one big ship. You know, you get what I'm saying? It was a ship that came and landed, and then cities was resurrected. A community was resurrected on top of it, because that's the technology we possess. And then when it went to higher frequency, all the energy from it that was beaming at the bottom of the ship, as it went to higher frequency, they froze that. And what you see left of that is what they call the pyramids. You know what I'm saying? But hovering above that is Timbuktu, the real Timbuktu. And all that land is really Timbuktu. All of that was the university. That was never like a land. That was literally a city of universities, which we call the University of Timbuktu. And the real Egypt is right here in America, because that was a tribe. But it was a tribe that existed, and as we kept going through different frequencies, we took on different names. Remember, we gods, and then as we fell, we went Lemurians, Atlanteans, Egyptians, Mississippians, and Sioux and Redfoot and Choctaw, and then slaves, then Indian slaves, then Negroes, colored folks, and Latinos. That was all part of the fall. So Timbuktu is a very powerful place. It has the information there to take you to the next level. You know, they kind of mock Timbuktu with the movie Wakanda, in a way. If you know, you know. So that's the truth about the University of Timbuktu. It's right there hidden in plain sight, but they want to call it Egypt today. No, that's where Timbuktu was at. All of that. That wasn't no desert. It didn't look like that.